That's the one. So we have Arabia here, Domingos, DD, as we can see here, against DADS on an open map. Now I know DADS, at least some of the players are more comfortable with the closed maps like Arena. They did an amazing Arena game against Domingos, but I think they struggle a bit more on the open maps, so that's going to be interesting to see the development here. We'll dive into the team introductions here, so let's have a talk about DADS first, with Lithuania's pocket for Anon642 here. Great pocket, some of the absolute best paladins in the game because of their relic bonus from collecting relics, giving the +1 attack for each relic up until 4 relics. Gold position suboptimal for Anon here, very open map, could be a pickle to actually secure that one. And also 2 golds to the side here, so I guess they'll want to wall rather broad in the front here and try to secure the gold somehow. Otherwise, this is a perfect TC spot, town center spot for later. But looking at Anon's map here, they have to play the aggressive style here to make sure he has access to his resources. Alternatively, they could go for a bit of a team wall towards Shakuni here. Anon and Shakuni could team wall, and then these golds would be secured to some extent. But I don't love this map for Anon. But these Lithuanians are very strong civ overall, so maybe that's what's going to save them here. Right hand side of Anon, we have Deno 037 with the Vikings. Strong flag civilization, strong civilization on any map, the Vikings. They have some water bonuses working for them, but they also have instant wheelbarrow and handcart in the feudal and castle ages, which just gives them a massive economic power spike in the feudal and castle ages. So they have such an easy time building the economy and setting up for whatever they will do, which is usually going to be an infantry opening, maybe men at arms, or rush into archers. Gold is forward for Deno as well, but there's a secondary gold to the side here, slightly better in terms of security, and then the other goal also right next to a hill to the left hand side here, so gold situation doesn't look too great for DADS here, unfortunately, looking at the maps. Some hills pretty close to their bases as well could be an issue. Well, finally we have Shakuni on the right hand side with the Mayans here. Forward gold for Shakuni as well. They all have horrible forward gold spots here for DADS. Varys more in the back though, but 2 forward golds here for Shakuni. At least left with 1 in the back here that could be walled out and secured, I believe. So a little bit better position for Mayans here, but for consistently and fluent gold income, you want access to your main gold though, so this could still be the one that Shakuni will go for gold income. Playing as the Mayans here on the flank, will undoubtedly be going into archers, possibly with some kind of infantry opening. But given the distance to the other flank, maybe and straight archers opening could be justified here as well. So for the other team, Domingos, we have Coster with the Khmer pocket here. Very smooth transition through the ages for Khmer. The overall base for Coster, if he's going to wall on his own, that's going to cost quite a bit in terms of wood here on the sides, but in exchange he would get his back gold. Good to have a back gold there, a bit more secure, and the main gold maybe with walling between the wood lines here. So Coster definitely in a better gold spot than his counterpart with all the forwards and side golds. Khmer could easily play Fast Castle Knights or Scouts openings, of course, then, and a smooth transition through the ages overall. But they have access to great siege and the battle elephants as well. So who knows? We might be seeing some different kinds of units at work here. Left hand side from Coster, we have Rolf DK playing as the Vikings. So sort of a Vikings mirror, but on different flanks here. 3 on gold suggests to me that Rolf wants to go for a straight archers build here, and he's on the lookout for where the enemy is situated right now. Maybe going for some walling here, or I don't know. Shakuni is on the other row, seeing something going on here. Feudal Age on the way for Shakuni with the 23 pops, so straight archers on both sides here, it seems, for DADS and Don Domingos. Finally, though, we have the Phone, formerly known as the Beast Jürgen, on the right-hand side with the Britons. Arguably the superior archer sim out there, with extra range granted to their crossbows and arbalests in the Castle Age and the Imperial Ages, respectively, and a unique technology from the castle, the Ye Omen, giving foot archers another range. So another +1 range. Means that in fully upgraded Britain's arbalests, they will actually have a range of 5+6. Would easily outrange the Vikings archers, but Vikings, on the other hand, with their strong eco, could opt for an earlier Imperial Age and get to the arbalest sooner, so you never know. Depends on how the game progresses here, if it will go to the Imperial Age at all. And yeah, how it turns out. Only 2 on berries for the Phone here. What's going on? Going for a 22 pop up here though, so that would suggest to me that he would be thinking about some, could be thinking about some infantry opening, but looks like it's just going to be some kind of straight archers build from the Phone here as well. Britain's 21 pot straight archers is justified, by the way, because they have a food boost from their sheep being gathered faster, so they could go with only 5 instead of the standard 6 on sheep early on, and then go to wood earlier instead. Village in first range popping up for the Phone here, and the second one probably going to be placed shortly here. So 2 ranges, but Deno already has both these ranges up, so that could be a pickle for the Phone here, falling a little bit behind in production to the other flank. 2 ranges for the Lions as well, Blacksmith going up, whereas Rolf DK is still in the feudal age with the still in the Dark Age, I mean, with the feudal age just about to kick in here. Scouts on the move from Anon here, good timing I'd say. Anon with 5 military, Foster with only 2, so in terms of military production here, DADS have a good momentum going for them here on Arabia. Anon with the only one with the highest score here, but I think that comes down to scouting, having been around a little bit here and there with the scouts, and actually been picking off Rolf's scout here as well. Anon manages to break through at Coster's side here. That's a good engagement, as idles Coster quite a bit here. Coster neglecting to produce anything at all here. So his plans are being obstructed here. He isn't really going for a fast castle age either, not on the gold or anything here. Will have to provide scouts of his own, but he's being out-scouted here by Mr. Anon 642 here. Right. So one scout got trapped there somehow by Coster. Probably a quick house, which is using the Khmer bonus to garrison inside of here as well. But a nice block there from Anon to take out one builder of Coster. Let's see the numbers here. Coster with 28 builders now have been taken some losses here and some serious idle time cost. Good engagements from that so far. Shakuni is on the forward here as well, on Rolf DK, and look at this woodland by Rolf, walled in on its own over there. Let's see if Shakuni knows that that's... Oh, will he get lucky? It's just a few tiles away here from seeing that Rolf is actually having 3 villagers on the wood over here. Defensive tower by Rolf, though, that's a good call, I think, on the gold over here. However, could also have saved that zone and gone for the gold over here instead, which would be outside of enemy archers' range. Koster has walled off here as well. They have kind of a functional team wall almost here, but needs to go up over here until it's completed. So good call of Koster to wall off here as well to make sure that the scouts at least won't be reaching Rolf here. Huge military lead for DADS here though, doing a good job on Arabia so far. We have the pawn with the hill here though, with +1/+1 on the archers. Same upgrades, more numbers for the pawn. No, exact same numbers actually, but then no, with reinforcements closer. And let's see the resources here as well. The pawn behind the no in terms of food and resources needed for the Castle Age upclick. So we could be seeing Mayans going up first here. And a part of see Vikings going up first here, I mean, and a part of that being that Vikings have a more efficient economy, kicking off right away in the feudal age. Few skirms mixed in for the pawn as well. I like that addition. That's going to even out the fights a bit. 2 scouts still here for Anon to idle Koster a little bit, but now Koster has some spearmen on the move and should be able to fend this off. Look at the transitions here of both Shakuni and Anon on the way to the Castle Age, so we'll be seeing Lithuanian knights on the field soon enough. And look at Koster, the show off with the quick walls here, walling in that villager, not risking losing that to scouts. And it's just a matter of time now before the walls are complete here and Koster is somewhat safe in his home region here, so to speak. Doesn't change the fact though that Koster hasn't clicked the Castle Age at all. He's right there on the... wait, he's missing gold, so he's actually not that close either. And yet again, Anon is hitting the gold. Great engagement there to idle Koster's gold again to delay Koster's Castle Age even further here. So now we have the chains in the Castle Age with double stables, nice production, while Koster hasn't even clicked up. Rolf DK sitting at 40 population here, same as Deno, the other Vikings players. They are evenly matched there. How good recover by Rolf actually after taking some losses to archers. The difference, however, being that Deno is also on the way to the Castle Age, so we might actually have the whole of DADS in Castle Age before Domingos have even clicked. There's the pawn going up though, so it's going to reach that Castle Age with a healthy amount of Britain's army to fight with here, but there's still 30% difference. That's a power spike that Deno could use to their advantage, especially in coordination with Anon 642 with the knights here, an option that Koster simply doesn't have yet. He hasn't kicked up and is lagging so far behind in the progress here. Amazing amounts of curve farms don't really help here if you can't get to that next stage. 22 farms. Look at this food eco. Koster should have just dropped the market a moment ago, a long while ago, and sold some food, and he'd be up, not needing to mine that gold. Shakuni with the crossbows should definitely take the engagement here now and take out Rolf's numbers. Never mind there being feudal skirmishers in the mix. This is a fight you win anyway. The skirms, sure, they have full upgrades, but it's Castle Age units with upgrades against feudal age units. Just take the fight and remove the army numbers of Rolf DK here. That would be a much better engagement for Shakuni than going for the houses and trying to break into the pocket. So I can see how he wants to enter Koster's area again to limit Koster's progress even more. But you also need to factor in that Rolf is making a lot of military here and is actually quite close to the Castle Age. Just take the fight already. Even if it's uphill, you could win this with crossbow bodkin easy. But seems like Shakuni is on a mission, has a personal agenda against Koster. 1, 2, 3... Koster will be losing villagers left and right. Castle Age still not in for Rolf. And finally, Shakuni is taking some hits in on Rolf's numbers as well. Rolf not going straight for that upgrade. His eco can support it. So why the heck isn't he clicking crossbow and elite skirm? There's elite skirm. This doesn't look pretty for Don Domingos, I have to say. Koster so far behind to the next stage, and villager numbers as well. 29 villagers for Coster, as opposed to Anon with twice the villagers and 3 TC boom going on at their home base here now. Completely idle for Coster. Finally reaching the castle age, but at what cost? 0 on gold, can't even provide knights upon reaching the castle age. We have to attribute this a little bit to the awful resource disposition on the map as well, and the woodlands on wall ability, but this doesn't look pretty for Don Domingos. Denlo is pushing, taking the hill on the top here as well, together with Anon on this side. Anon with +2 defense on the knights, so they will withstand Archer's fire to quite some extent as well. I think this fight is justified to take this fight. Denlo with slightly fewer numbers, but with knights in between, could absolutely justify taking an engagement here. A ram is being made as well. Imagine a Mangonel though, to try and wipe out some numbers here. Oh, coordinate, guys! Anon, what are you doing? Don't engage without your flank here. I mean, granted, Anon still actually doesn't have that much military either. Is queuing up a lot here, but now suddenly you don't have a meat shield other than a ram here against the pawn's archer. So maybe the pawn can turn this around. Coster will be struggling at home though. There's just no way that Coster is going to be allowed to take gold there. He has to use the market to buy a defensive siege workshop here now, and he will still have to sell food and buy wood and gold. Coster is completely incapacitated here in the pocket position. He can't do anything. He doesn't have wood, he doesn't have gold. He will have to rely on sling from teammates now. If Shakuni just knew this, he'd stick around here forever and make sure that Coster can't access his golds. Oh, Denlo has been losing numbers here. Mangonel shot, nice split from the pawn. Might even focus down the Mangonel here because Britons +3 range, so they actually outrange Mangonels in the castle age onwards. Anon, you need to stay with Denlo here. Stay together, stay in between, so that Denlo can take reasonable fights against the longer range Britons archers here. Looks like Shakuni's forward will come to an end as well. Lots of skirmishers here from Rolf DK. Again, with Lithuanians knights in the mix and some teamwork here, then the skirmishers wouldn't be an issue, because the knights would run in close and take them out. Coster will reclaim control of the gold here. And now what DADS have going for them most of all here is the villager count more than military situation. They wasted their military needlessly here, I'd say. And now it's the pawn on the forward with whooping 36 Britons crossbows here. Denlo losing some numbers, not really reacting here. Let's see Denlo's eco. So Denlo has to consistently produce, which is doing, but floating quite a bit of wood and gold now could actually, with the current gold setup, justify building another range to try and match the Britons' numbers again here. Oh, but Mangonel from the hill. Let's see if the pawn is paying attention. Oh, let's see the hit. That's unfortunately another Mangonel wasted for Denlo 037 here. Great job from the pawn here. 79 to 34 KD, keeping those archer numbers consistent and alive here. Can Britons carry this on their own? Coster is stabilizing to some extent here. Is going to make a very much needed castle on the gold here. But with just a little bit more team effort on this side here from DADS, we'd actually be looking at way fewer Britons crossbows. Granted, the pawn has an easier time replenishing numbers as well, because the Britons' ranges work faster, but Anon didn't waste 7 or 8 scouts and knights alone against the pawn earlier on there near the hill. They would have such much better fights going for them, and now they're falling behind here, at least in terms of numbers from the pawn here. And siege isn't the easiest option either. Now the pawn is going to go for the wood line of Denlo and try to hard carry this game on their own with these mildly inaccurate Britons archers. Forward castle from Shakuni and Imperial H way well on the way here. 80% up. Coster obviously nowhere close. That Imperial Age, that could be a deciding factor here. They still need to deal with Britons up here. Maybe Anon could do that on their own with Imperial Age on the way as well. You need even more Knights numbers and more than anything the relics though for that to boost. Why doesn't people get relics as Lithuanians in team games? Come on. And Shakuni with the Mayans. Castle forward will be able to produce trebs if eco permits here. Will also be losing crossbows to Roth DK's Elite Skirms investment. Again here we had just 3 or 4 knights from Anon 642 here in the mix together with Shakuni. Those Elite Skirms, they are no threat whatsoever. They're sitting under the castle now, killing crossbows. Hopefully soon to be arbalest for free. And look at the flex here now. Shakuni is going for the obsidian arrows. It's going to go into obsidian arrows. Is not queuing trebs here, surprisingly enough. Must be knowing about the cast low coster now, for sure. What is this game? We have a Lithuanian player with no relics, refusing to come help take out some elite skirms on this side, and meanwhile also not coordinating on the right hand side against the pawn here. Then with 40 military now though, so matching up the numbers against the pawn here, but now Coster has to some extent stabilized. They're missing 2 upgrades on the knight still, but will try for some raids here and exploit the fact that the walls aren't complete for DADS on the other side here. I really don't see Don Domingos turning this around, but let's see, +2 attack now. Is that a relic? No. There's the relics now. The knights will have +3. And Cavalier is on the way, so we'll have Cavalier with +3 attack at least. So the Imperial Defense are upgrade going in as well. And let's see, with Anon is with 34 on food. Yeah, slightly too little for an Imperial Age setup for a cavalry team. I'd love to see around 50 on food maybe to justify the light cap upgrade and going for the raids here. But getting the relics will for sure be helping out here. Let's see what Shakuni is doing forward. There's not much Coster can do here being in Castle Age. In fact, his whole team being in Castle Age. And again, we're seeing that's going to be all team in Imperial Age before any of the Don Domingos can get there. Coster, the pocket struggling hardest, unfortunately. 50 population, no eco whatsoever, just providing some knights here, but against the Lithuanians Cavalier, there's just no way you can't fight that. Mayans arbalest with obsidian arrows on the field. Just look at them melting the buildings here as well. And 3 trebs now ready to push. Yeah, this has to be Dad's game, even with the admirable play of the pawn on the other side, keeping almost 60 arbalests alive here, or soon to be arbalests anyway. It's just not going to be enough. The pawn with the Britons and the lack of mobility cannot hold against Pudley Boom, Lithuanians, and Mayans here. Stone walls from Rolf DK here, trying his best to survive the Vikings player here while going up to him, but the defensive castles of Coster will be going down. I hear relics being picked up by Alon's monks as well, now with +2 attack on these cavaliers. Even outnumbered here, this is an easy fight for Anon to take with the extra attack and defense here, no problem whatsoever. I'm not sure what he's up to here though, it's just passing through apparently. Might be thinking about hitting the Britons, but he's doing that as well. Arbalest on the way for the pawn here now, so once Arbalest kicks in he will clean up here, but in return Coster will be cleaned up as well, having lost both his castles at 70 pop only against 2 almost pop capped enemies. And a good display of DADS here, actually taking the 2-0 against Don Domingos. I did cast the other game and at a different date than previous weekend. So GG well played indeed. The only player not reaching Imperial Age in the end is Coster, who was subject to ruthless raids and a rather bad map. No restarts in the League of Empires though, so that's where it ends. I'm not sure what the pawn and Wolf DK are up to here. One last fight maybe. But there's no way they're winning this 2 vs 3 anyway, so I'll take the liberty to fast forward until the end. The GG was called. There's one last fight just for fun here, but then no even stabilized and got to implants on castle here as well, so would be able to hold off against Britons anyway. GG though. Shakuni, arguably MVP here with 156 to 69 kills. The pawn did a great job as well, holding their right hand side on their own. And Anon from the pocket as well, 103 to 45 KD, largest army of 80. If that's 80 Lithuanians paladins, that has me a little bit scared. That's a very strong unit combo. I don't think he made it to paladin actually, but must have been right around the corner as well. Let's see the uptimes here. 9-15 for Anon, easy with Lithuanians to go up early with that extra starting food. Earliest imp for the Mayans player, that's Mayans eco in practice there as well, probably staying on 1 TC for a bit longer, conserving resources to go up. And biggest boom for the Lithuanians here, Koster could never contest that, being under constant aggression. GG, well played, and let's move on to the first division and Norwegian Bastards versus Royal Flushers, I believe. I'd have to confirm that, but we'll get to it.